Hey guys, just a quick video on my Adenium here. These are desert rose. I grew these from seed about 9-10 months ago during the winter, and then had them outside all summer. I had them in larger containers outside to keep the moisture consistent throughout, and they thrived. I did have some issues with root rot due to the soil medium in the pot was on the fine side, and we had a lot of rain for a couple weeks, and that took out a couple plants. I was able to save some by cutting the bottom part of the caudex and putting them back in the soil. These have been, they weren't doing so well in the beginning when I brought them in. I used a soil mixture that was not that well draining. It dried out on top and was really soggy at the bottom. I thought it would be good enough to get them through winter and then repot them in the spring, but that wasn't the case. So I came up with this new soil mixture here. This is basically organic compost, but you can't use it as is. You have to use something to sift out the fines. The fines is what causes poor drainage. I used the organic compost with manure, and that dried out on top really fast, and the bottom was still soggy due to the fine particles. So I'm still using that, but I found a colander. It's like a bowl with a bunch of small holes in it. It's stainless steel, and I use that to sift out the fines. The holes are about 2 millimeters in diameter, and that seems to get all the particles that I don't want. It's perfect size. The particles that I do want, they're good size. They're I think from experience, if I could use that and maybe a bigger, maybe like a basket or a strainer or something with larger holes, I want to say 1/4 inch, and sift out the larger particles also. That might be better. I also mixed in some oil dry, but with the oil dry I also sifted that out and got rid of the fine particles. And these plants seem to be loving it. The soil dries out pretty fast. It's well draining. You pour the water in and it just drains out right away. It stays wet for about, I shouldn't say wet, it stays moist for about 2 days, maybe 3. The top dries out, the top surface dries out in about a day, but if you look beyond the first layer of particles, you can see that it's still kind of moist, which is perfect for these. They like to be moist but not wet, and they'll thrive if you can maintain moisture and have it consistent throughout, and they just keep on growing and growing. You can see that this top layer of foliage is a lot denser than below. You can also see that they've got a lot of branching going on. Like this one has 1, 2, 3, and there's 2 more branches in the back. And then these other 2 have about 9 branches. Not sure if you're able to see it there. So the Adenium, these are Socotrainum Adenium, or Adenium Socotrainum, which is the Thai Adenium that tends to have a lot of branching right at the base. You can see the branching on this one too. You can see that I buried the caudex pretty deep. This way I can get make the caudex larger quicker. The caudex in the plant right now is solid. It's really hard, and it's not soft at all. The caudex can begin to get soft for a couple of reasons. The first one being the most dangerous is root rot. You'll also see yellowing of the leaves. The second reason is if they're drying out. That one is not as dangerous, but you can just give it water, and eventually it'll plump up. But either way, a healthy adenium is a hard adenium, and continuing to put out new leaves. So these have been thriving and doing really well, and they've been indoors, I want to say, over a month now. About a month. I don't know exactly for how long, but they've been putting out new growth. It's been cold recently. We had our first snow, and we're getting a snowstorm here on Tuesday, so they've been happy inside. It's about 72 degrees in my house. Been pretty gloomy lately. Not getting much sun, but they've still been doing just fine. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick update and how to care for these. I water these probably every 2 to 3 days. You can kind of lift them up and feel how heavy they are to know how much water is in it, because right now, if you look at the top, it looks pretty dry. However, I believe that it is still decently moist by the weight of the pot. I will probably water it tomorrow. I think I watered it yesterday, so. But yeah, they're doing good, and that's kind of the thing with any plant. A lot of people say with succulents that you need to keep them dry on the dry side. Yeah, for the most part, staying on the dry side is safer, but they do need moisture. So giving them the moisture and letting them take up moisture at their own rate is definitely important. And if you want a fast-growing adenium, getting a large caudex and putting out the beautiful flowers, then keeping a consistent moisture and not letting them or keeping them dry for long periods of time is a must. And that's all I have for you for this time. I'll see you next time.